I don't necessarily agree with that. Right? I'm using language.
Okay.
So people were still getting shot in the streets, and I think part of that it's endemic of a lot of broken systems. Right? Mm-hmm. You have a city government who's largely inefficient. Right, and unable to address the basic quality of life needs in the neighborhood.
Ring the bell.
Right?
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
So and that's endemic of a broken system.
Right.
Another broken system is the education system.
Ring the bell.
Right. So you have a city government that's unresponsive to the basic needs of your average everyday neighborhood person.
Right.
You also have an education system that has not been able to provide a quality education for all of the kids for quite some time. Right? You know, there was separate. The whole concept of separate but equal, that was 1964. 64.
Great.
Right? But and still we're not able to achieve equity in the neighborhoods that need it the most. Be it, you know, making sure that they have a quality teacher in front of them, being that they have a beautiful environment in which to go to be educated. That still does not exist today.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, it may be a certain level of integration, but it is still not equal.
Right, absolutely.
It's still not equal. So we got some work to do. So just think about it on a systemic level.
Right.
If you have a broken education system, right, that's not expanding your vocabulary, doesn't teach you how to deal with conflict.
Right.
You have no conflict resolution skills, and then you're out in the street and something happens.
Right.
Your medium to solve a problem your default is violence, and the escalation of that is part of the problem.
Exactly, and we totally agree with State Rep Tony Payton. That is him on, and we have some calls on the line. Let's see if we can get the caller this time through to talk to the State Rep and us. I hope it works this time. Sorry. 88.1 FM. Hi, caller.
It's not positive for them to do. They be shutting everything down after all the violence. So the city should invest in more in the youth community programs and stuff that kids actually want to do, and really just try to build the family structure back up, because it's definitely crazy out here.
Exactly. What do you think about the State Rep point that, you know, we have to educate our kids about violence, begetting violence, and a way to kind of talk them out of it?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, but I think we gotta, if we're gonna talk to them, we gotta implement people who they look up to. Like, no offense to any politician or anything like that, but a lot of the kids today in Philly don't really relate to them like that. So I feel like if we could get like Meek Mill and, you know, Ready Rock and all the 8 Gang and all the dudes who the kids actually look up, all the rappers and athletes who the kids look up to.
Right.
You know what I mean? It would be a little bit of a better outcome.
So what do we have to do to get the kids to look up to a young State Rep Tony Payton, like, who's in the game, and like, what do we have to do to change that climate where it don't have to be just the rappers?
I think the first thing would just be like, if we could like just maybe get some kind of gathering where they could see that, you know what I mean, that the young new people coming into the government that want reform have the best interests at heart, and they can just really get into the community and really just talk to the kids and be out there on a daily, not just come once a year, but you gotta really be out there like a couple times a week, just busting it up with them and really getting out there in the trenches, because it's hard out there for them and they don't got a lot of hope where they come from. So.
Right. Well, we so do agree. We greatly appreciate you calling in, QB. We love you. Thank you for listening to A Moment with Purple 88.1 FM. Tell everybody, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
No doubt. And I'm going to see you Sunday, and thank y'all for having me. I'm going to see y'all.
Any shout outs? Purple Eyes Kisses? You know how I feel about that.
I'm just going to shout out, you know what I mean? You Purple, I want to shout out all that kid. I want to shout out to Tommy Kids. I love you, Tommy. I want to shout out the state representative. Thank you for, you know what I mean? Just caring about the people and doing what you do. So
Thank you. Have a great day. Purple Eyes Kisses. Mwah.
I'll see you.
Early and often. So that's a great point. What do you think, State Rep?
I think he's right. I mean, part of it is that you know, you can't look up to what you don't know.
Right.
And to that end, I mean, I did 39 different career days at different schools this year. So I've been in probably over 55 schools just this year. So the kids in my neighborhood know me.
Right.
And to a certain extent, they look up to me.
Right.
Because they see somebody doing something different. So it's a matter of exposure.
Right. It's a matter of exposure.
And yeah, I mean, you don't know what you're not exposed to, but they hear these rappers. They everywhere they go, they're flooded with music.
Right.
Right. So the people that are producing music, that are on the music videos, that's naturally who they're going to look up to because that's what they see as success.
Right.
But there's a whole nother world out there, whether it be sort of in politics, whether it be in business, where success is attainable and within their grasp. It's a matter of exposure, and that's our job, frankly.
I totally agree.
Because the truth is, youngins, all y'all can't rap.
Right. Although they believe they can.
Although we believe
And at this point in time,
What you mean we can't rap?
don't get me started. Don't get me started. Oh, okay, stop.
1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5.
State rep is right. It's
6.
just, state rep is exactly right. It's just, it's just exposing them to a whole new world. Knowing that they could have the same things, the Bentleys and the chains and the money. They could have the same things just. Off of entrepreneurship, doing things actually, doing things to help the community, making a name for themselves other than, being something that they're not. Right. Like I tell you all the time, what we experience today,
run a hospital.
Exactly, because what we experience today, a lot of it, I'm going to go on record and say it, a lot of it is not hip hop. We listen to, nowadays what we listen to is trap music.
Right.
Everything is thuggery. Everybody came from the block.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that 2 Chainz graduated from college with a 4.0.
Wow. You mean Titty Boy?
Yes.
Titty Boy graduated from college.
A lot of people don't know
That's the
that.
name, Titty Boy.
A lot of people don't know that Bun B from UGK is a college professor.
Right.
So there are different things out there, and these are not the only outlets that you have.
Right.
But you have to maintain. You got to get your education. You have to do these things. But like State Rep said, it has to be quality education that they get.
And also speaking of education, the state just recently passed a new program called the Opportunity Scholarship Program. So kids that go to failing schools, which are the majority of schools that are in West Philadelphia, are eligible for a scholarship up to $8,500. And if they have a disability, $15,000 to go to any school their parents choose. Right? They can go to Haverford, they can go wherever.
Right.
Wherever they choose. And I will tell a little personal story. I grew up in West Oakland. 1992, I was 11. We moved. Right. I'm from Uptown, but we moved to Hatboro, 10th Street. Right. Whoa. In Montgomery County because of the schools. Right. We moved because my mother wanted us to get a better education, and we did.
Absolutely.
And we did.
That's very important. And me too. I was born and raised in Chester, but my mom picked us up and pushed us to media so we can go get the Rose Street Media School District education, because that was a better education.
Shout out to 6th Avenue, 16th Street.
Early.
66 to 18.
Yeah, well, no Tommy, he had it good. He had it good. But, he wanted to start acting up in West Canada.
He was one of them 9-year-olds.
I had to go around the corner to West Philly. That was like that was a real different world.
Different world. now I want to, because we only have like 45 minutes left. I want to switch gears a little bit and just talk about a little bit about state rep. We want to talk about voter ID, but in regards to education and making people like yourselves superstars, we know that this is your last term right now, right?
That is correct.
Now, can you tell us why?
I initially decided to run, and I withdrew. I had a lot of personal stuff going on, and it's time to pursue some other things. But I'll be back.
You'll be back.
Yep. Got some family issues to take care of, and I'll be back in a couple of years.
Okay. Can we talk about the signature issue?
Sure.
Well, because I'm saying this because to me, I feel like in Philadelphia politics, this happens to many of our very important politicians where you're out there, you're working hard, you're making changes, and then somebody, threatens your signatures. You know what I'm saying? And then they trying to take you to court, and then you got to do all this.
Which is an expensive process.
Listen, people need to know about it, because when you see people out there with their petitions and they're asking, hey, can you sign our petition for state rep, so and so.
Yeah, you can't just sign. You got to sign. You got to write your address. You got to put in a date, and make sure it's sequential and what have you. And I had a newborn at the time, so I didn't
do it yourself.
I didn't do it myself.
Right.
I had some folks working for me, and you know, they put in the dates, which technically, if you read the election code, is okay, right? But the judges, which can be political because they are elected,
right? They're biased in a lot of places,
right? So this judge decided to sort of basically to subvert the will of a lot of people who live in my community.
Right.
So I withdrew because it became an expensive process, and I'm going on to the next. So somebody will be replacing me. I doubt that they will be able to do some of the things I've done.
Right.
Build 2 new schools, build a PAL center, revitalize Hunting Park, those sorts of things.
Right.
But I will not be going for long.
Exactly, and we hope not, because I mean the same thing happened to Tommy's dad, you know, State Rep Thomas Blackwell, the fourth. You know, you go out there, you're beating the streets for these signatures, but you come to a point where you are quote unquote busy. And it ends up that you feel like you have trusted staff or trusted people going out to collect these signatures for you, and any mistake that they make, or if they're you know, hey, you might have hired the wrong person, that they would decide they're gonna write all the signatures themselves.
There's rules to the game.
There's rules to the game that has to be followed, and my point about this is that, you know, in Philadelphia politics, unfortunately, obviously, there can never become a time where you can not do it yourself, almost.
I mean, basically, the lesson learned is you got to do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself.
You got to go out. You got to do it yourself. Bottom line, doesn't matter. You know, part of it is that, see, in politics, when you're elected, right? It's my perspective that you can never put politics above governance, right? Because you're elected to deliver for the people. Politics is a mechanism to continue serving them, right? But you can't put aside serving them for some sort of narrow political win.
Right.
And, you know, in my case, I had some personal issues going on, newborn, such and such.
Life.
So life, and you know, had some folks working for me who, you know, weren't necessarily trained properly. And part of it is that, you know, the people who seek to win elections that way, are usually sort of long on politics, short on policy. Because they, you know, if you want to win an election, you go out and talk to people, you get one more votes than the other guy, you win that election.
Right.
So.
Right, and you know, people have their own agendas, and politics is vicious. We know this. This is not a secret. Politics are vicious, so you gotta understand that we have great representatives out there, such as Tony Payton, who should be on the next term of his, in my opinion, who should be, you know, change makers, who should be out there maintaining their position, but because
you can make change from the inside, from the outside. I mean, I've had the benefit of serving almost 6 years now.
Okay.
I have a lot of knowledge and know how to push the buttons to make things happen, right? But part of it is that it's beyond knowing what buttons to push, because as I said, these are systemic failures that continue to fail neighborhoods over and over again. So if somebody knows how to push the buttons, that's great, right? But the button should be pushed because it's the right thing to do, not because Tony called, not because Tommy called, what have you. It should work because it needs to work, and that's where some of the problem lies. Is that, you know, we have a lot of folks in positions to do things that aren't necessarily serving people well because they may not be competent enough to do so.
Okay, so you know how we feel about community radio here. The public comes first. We have a caller on the line. How you doing, caller?
How you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you for calling 88.1 FM. We got State Rep here. We're talking about violence and, you know, politics. You want to chime in on the conversation?
Yeah, sure. It's Miss P. Hey, Purple.
Hey, Miss P. We love you for calling in. What's up?
You look better on Facebook.
I'm gonna be
Yes. I wanted to say shout out to everybody that's tuned in, and we definitely want to increase the peace and Philly and stop the violence. So that's one of the key topics that I overheard you guys talking about, that we all as a group community to work on together. So definitely I'm a part of that and the whole thing.
Yes.
And if you don't know who Miss P is, you will.
That's right, Backcave Radio World's own Miss P. She just had an event out in Love Park and about to have another one, right, Miss P?
Yes.
That Note You Tommy is going to be. That Note You Tommy is going to be on this one, right?
Say it once more.
I said that Note You Tommy is going to be a part of this one, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Come out this Tuesday. We'll be back in Love Park. We're doing the whole Increase the Peace West Park again from 12 to 2 p.m. So everyone's free to come on down and network. We're definitely going to keep this movement going and bring our city together and create more events for positive opportunities for our city.